everyone. My name is Melissa Cantor. I'm an assistant professor of precision dairy science at Penn State University. I started in February of 2023, and recently, as of 2025, we have renovated our calf barn to contain robotic milk and concentrate feeders to promote growth in our calves. You might be wondering why on earth a robot would help promote growth in calves. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. As you can see, calves are very social animals, just like cows. They like to hang out with other companions. When they see one another eating, they are actually stimulated to increase their solid feed intake. So one of the reasons that we do this is to promote rumen development in calves. The other thing that we do this for is to get them prepared for when they're grouped together as older animals. When they're housed together, at a young age, as you can see, they form social bonds, and these social bonds can be maintained throughout weaning. The other thing you might notice is that not all of these calves are black and white. What's going on here? We have our beef and dairy calves in our facility at the moment because we're currently running another trial with our purebred Holstein calves. So you see here, all of our surplus calves are actually being reared the same exact way we would raise our replacement Holstein heifer calves for our dairy. So with that, I'd love to give you a tour today. So come along with me and we will go on our tour right now. This is our automated milk feeder made by Urban and distributed by AMS Galaxy. This particular system is unique in that each calf will wear a collar, which I'll show you later in this tour today. This collar knows who this calf is. We can program into the robot how much milk this calf is getting, how quickly this calf is drinking, how often this calf is visiting, and even how many times this calf is visiting to the robot and not eligible to receive feed. These are all really important variables to record because we know that they're correlated with different diseases like diarrhea and pneumonia in calves. And we know that artificial intelligence can actually be used to predict signs of these diseases relatively early compared to a human, as early as 6 days before with 96% accuracy. As you can see, Mr. Spicy, the Holstein here, is not currently eligible for milk, so he's not motivated to feed. But the idea here is pretty much consistent within calves. The other thing that's nice about this system, you will see bright white lights. What are those? These lights actually, when a calf has actually consumed a meal and come out of the stall, these particular lights will turn red, and the infrared red light will be used to decrease the count or the bacterial counts in the milk. There's a master's student in Europe that's currently working on publishing this. These particular things are really important. Sanitation matters a lot for calf health. So one reason we love our system is because after every calf visits, this is sanitized with the lights, and we know that the robot is cleaning itself with chemicals 3 times a day to keep it as clean and spotless as possible. This is our concentrate robotic feed. Might be wondering why we're feeding calves concentrate. Grain, or concentrate, is really, really important for calves related to rumen development. As you can see here, I'm currently training this beef on dairy calf to eat grain. Grain is going to be a very important component of this calf's diet throughout its life. So as you can see here, there is a green panel down. Come on, baby. Come in here. I'm trying to train this calf to get the feed from the bowl. But as you can see, there's a panel actually down inside this concentrate feeder that's registered to the collar that this calf is wearing. That collar is very, very important because it's going to tell us when this calf is visiting and how much grain this calf is consuming. It deposits the grain in really small 20 grain increments. And as you can see, the calf is really starting to get the idea. It's important for us to show the calf the grain the first time because calves are very neophobic, meaning that they're terrified of new things, and particularly they're neophobic towards food in general. And so it's important for us to introduce this component, also known as calf grain, really early in life to promote that rumen development in these calves. We also know that grain intake is correlated with lots of things related to disease. Particularly, grain is a very useful behavior to record for research purposes because it helps tell us how efficient our calves are growing, how much they're growing, and even more so, who is the best performer. We know that in early life, grain intake is the most important thing related to how successful a calf will be later, aside from how much colostrum she gets. So again, it's really important we get them on the right start. Thanks for visiting our automated concentrate feeder. The other thing that's interesting about these automated milk feeding systems is space. Space is really critical and very important for calf health in this type of system. We recommend offering at least 50 square feet per calf of lying resting space. As you can see, our calves have a lot more than that right now because we have just our surplus calves in our barn at this moment in time. Please note where most of our calves are hanging out despite the amount of space that we're allocating to them. This is proven in the literature. Even calves that are housed in just pairs will spend most of the time together. In fact, 60% of their time will be spent together despite the amount of space that you provide to them. So you might be asking, why would we provide all that space if they're not even going to use it? The answer is it's really important for things like locomotory development in calves, and it's also really important for these calves for health reasons. So more space that we offer these calves, the less disease pressure they're going to experience. And when there's more of them together, it's just like kids in kindergarten. There's greater risk of disease. As you can see, there's more to the calf feeder or the robotic milk feeder and concentrate feeder than simply what's outside. Here's where the robot lives and does its job. Right now it's running through a wash cycle. As I mentioned earlier, these particular systems are great. They run through 3 different sets of chemicals, just like a milking parlor where you get your fresh milk from the supermarket. So, you can almost say that these calves are getting a meal just as clean as a glass of milk you would get straight from a gallon in your fridge. And there's an overview screen here where I can see all the different calves and what's going on with them. Right now we just have a few surplus calves on the system. 5 total. 4 have actually had all of their allotment already provided to them. We can click on an individual calf and see how much milk this calf is drinking throughout time. We can also see how many days this calf has been on the feeder, and even it will rank this calf in terms of fitness related to how well this calf is drinking milk. Meaning, milk intake, how quickly she's drinking, and how often she's visiting, which gives us a really good idea that this calf is thriving in our system. Now, we can also click on other calves. As you can see, this calf is identified as yellow. So the score on this calf is in the yellow category, meaning that this calf, while this calf is drinking quite well and having lots of milk consumed, this calf is not drinking as quickly as she could be. Potentially something is brewing, or this calf is recovering. I can tell you that this calf a few days ago had diarrhea, and you can see that we can use this data to actually predict a calf the day before they clinically get ill. It's shown here. The calf gave up their milk a little bit. Just a slight amount is enough to show us this calf is going to get sick. There's lots of information coming out of this system beyond just the calves and what they're consuming. We have multiple robots here. We have one that we're currently not using, that's why it's red. We have another one that's green. We can actually track treatments for our calves. We can program different diets to our calves. So as you can see here, we only have one milk plan right now because we're not running any trials, but you can see our calves are offered milk for 62 days total. And they're fed over 455 kilograms, which is about 900 pounds, including water weight, of total solids throughout this system. We can also change things related to programming additives in this and other things. So what's nice about this from a research perspective is if I want to feed calves electrolytes and do an electrolyte study, I can do that. If I want to offer these calves a specific probiotic or something like that, I can do that. It's a really flexible system from a research perspective. And I also like that I can customize which calves are on which plans and how much milk they get, etc. I can even program the amount that they're getting in dry matter, so that's the percent of solids in it versus water, because as we know, milk is mostly water. We can tell it how much they're going to get. We can even say, okay, we want these calves to be ranked lower if they're going less than half of what they're actually drinking. We can also change the ratios to all the calves on this way as well. And if we have a special calf, let's say we have a calf that we're going to take to the show in the fall, we can even give that calf free choice and limit how much milk she gets at each visit. Because these are surplus calves, I'm not going to do that, but you can see that the flexibilities go for a very long time. Thanks for coming to this data demonstration for our robotic milk feeders. this is our hand camp concentrate calf feeding system. We have done a partnership with AMS Galaxy and Urban to come up with a unique system for our farm because we really wanted to look at concentrate intake in our calves. We can tell how much all of our animals in the pen have consumed over the last 24 hours. And you can see 2 kilograms were consumed. Keep in mind, these calves are less than a few weeks of age, so that's actually quite a bit of grain for how many calves are in the barn, only 5 calves. We can even look at a calf that actually was actively feeding. If you remember earlier in our tour, we were training this calf how to drink milk off the calf feeder. As a demonstration, the calf's already trained, but we were also training this calf on the concentrate feeder. And you can see here that this particular calf left alone or behind 1/2 kilogram. So not only, what's really nice about this system is it records by feed disappearance and also dispension. So it'll record how much that calf is asking for and how much feed is left behind to really get us an accurate intake for our calves, and the system also does work in cows.